right? So this is actually how they behave, and so at every time you need to be able to understand what level of curiosity you are operating in, right? In every aspect of your life. Now, speaking about the actively curious guys, right? You still see these guys like they ask questions, right? But they don't want to go deep, right? And the reason why they don't want to go deep many times is because of how uncomfortable, right? How uncomfortable that thing might actually lead to their transformation. You will be shocked that many people are actually afraid of success. Many people are actually, they are actually afraid of the answers that they might come to, right? Just by being inquisitive, right? Many people are actually like that, right? So you could see them, right? They are getting some answers, but they're not getting answers at a deep level. They're not seeing the big picture, right? It's like, it's more like you having to like taste a meal, right? But because you are not there, right? You're not willing to give in your 100%. What happens? You just taste the meal and you don't sit your fucking ass and eat the meal, right? And if you study, there was a study I was doing. I was reading this book called The Outliers, right? And I recommend that book heavily. I go read the book Outliers, right? He talked about the 10,000 hour rule, right? If you're somebody who wants to be top 1% in your role, you top 1% rather, you have to understand that there's something called the 10-hour rule, right? These are people that they notice that over a period of time, they've been able to invest a large amount of their time into one thing over the years for as much as 10,000 hours accumulatively, right? So, if you are someone who wants to be an A player, you can't afford to stay at the actively curious level because there is no depth in it. It lacks depth. These are the guys who know little of this, little of this, little of this, and they are just everywhere. And most of these guys, you observe what they call the shiny object syndrome among people who are actively curious, because today they are seeing that this thing, oh, this is the one that is paying. They go read, two books. In fact, they don't even read a book about it. They just go watch a 3 minutes YouTube video about it. They watch a 1 minute YouTube video. They watch YouTube shorts, Instagram reels, and all those things. And the next thing they are like, oh, I know this thing, bro. You don't fucking know shit. You don't have depth. Go and learn. Go sit your fucking ass and learn, right? If you want to be an A player, you have to go beyond being actively curious. Right now, you need to understand that for someone who wants to be successful, right, you need to leave that phase. You need to put your head down, and then you need to you need to move to a higher level of curiosity, right? So we're going to be looking at the third level of curiosity, which I call the strategic curiosity, right? Now, strategic curiosity says, I must understand this thing, right? That's what it says. I must understand this thing. That's the stage. And these are people, those who are strategically curious are people that says, okay, so I'm not just asking questions, right? I'm beginning to seek mastery. This is where your life begins to change, basically, right? So when you find yourself being strategic curious, you find that, okay, so you just go beyond. You're now going beyond watching 2 minutes video. You start imbibing what I call assiduity, right? I learned that from Ty Lopez. You begin to learn to sit your ass one place. Like, we've gone over 30 minutes into the video already, but you're still here. You learn to sit your ass one place and learn one thing. You understand that success requires effort. Success requires a certain level of assiduity, your ability to sit your fucking ass and learn, right? You begin to take courses, you begin watching lengthy YouTube videos, right? You become intentional about improving, about learning and improving yourself. This is where you begin to unlock the kind of curiosity that can change your life. This is where you begin to unlock the kind of curiosity, right, that could birth invention, that could birth innovation. This is the phase where you begin to unlock it, because at this point, right, you find out that, oh, there is more to this thing. You want to learn. You want to learn how to do affiliate marketing, for example. So you're not just doing, you're not just going to YouTube, to go and watch what people are doing and all of that. No, you're taking your time to sit down, to buy the courses, to sit down. But something quite significant about those that are strategic, like that are this level, right? One of the things about them is the fact that most of them, right, they gallow this information, they swallow this information, they take all of this information, but they do not execute, right? Or at least the strength of their execution is actually very little as compared to how much time they put into learning, right? And when your strength for execution, right, is actually smaller than the time, or is actually lesser than the time you put into execution, guess what is going to happen? You're not going to get results. Result does not come from reading. Result does not come from taking online courses. That is why you see many people who take online courses. Today you're doing affiliate marketing, next tomorrow you're doing CPA marketing, the day after next tomorrow you're learning you're learning data analysis, you're learning sales, all of this. You want to learn everything, but when they tell you sit your fucking ass and make a sales call, you would not want to make the call because you don't have assiduity. You do not have, most of these guys do not have the discipline to execute. They don't have the heart to execute. They do not have the grit, the balls, for lack of better words, the balls to actually execute. And guess what? Success is not in getting all of those other things. Success is in fucking execution, right? Understand that knowledge without action is a useless knowledge. If you know something and you can't act on that which you know, it is a very useless form of knowledge. It's a very base knowledge. So what does that tell you? Strategic curiosity is fantastic. Strategic curiosity is good. But if all you are doing is just galloping information, taking in information, doing this and doing that without taking action that can propel you towards achieving your goal, action that can propel you towards being able to master the things that you have committed yourself to beyond the surface level, right? It means that you're jiving, basically. You're deceiving yourself, right? Because if you don't take actions, you will definitely not see results. And I am not cursing you. I am only telling you what is going to happen. Okay, so that takes us to the stage number 4, right? To the level number 4, which I call the fearless curiosity, right? Now, fearless curiosity basically says, okay, so I'm willing to, I'm open to the uncomfortable truth right now, basically, right? That is what it says, right? It is that phase you get to that say, okay, so I'm going to ask the hard questions, right? Even if the answers are not comfortable with me. So let me give you an example, right? So last year, I actually pushed out a campaign, right? For some reason, that campaign did not convert. My ads were getting restricted and all of that, right? They were getting rejected anyway. Now, I had 2 options. One of the options was for me to say, okay, man, Facebook ads does not work. It's bullshit. All of the things I learned in the courses I bought, I've tried it. It's not working, and fuck Facebook ads. I'm just going to go back and do whatever I was doing before. But no, I did not do that. What did I do? I began to learn more, right? I began to accept the hard truth. So what if the hard truth was, okay, so what if the copy that I spent days to write, weeks to tweak and all of that, what if the copy is something that they are flagging, right? What if the video that I spent thousands of naira to create, right, and edit is actually the thing that is causing my ads being rejected? What if it's this? What if it is? What if it is the things? What if I am actually the cause of this, right? If I am not the cause of this, how do I resolve it, right? That is fearless curiosity. The answers that you get to these questions might not be what you want to hear. They might not be what you like, but you are fearlessly curious. Let me give you another example. So take a look at the society, right? You go to church, right, and your pastor tells you things like, okay, you need to be patriotic, right? Your president tells you need to be patriotic. They tell you that you need to be a patriotic citizen, right? Do not leave your country, fight for your country and all of those kind of. They tell you these things. Now the question is, your pastor that tells you to be a patriotic citizen, to fight for your country, his child. Ask yourself, this pastor, is his child in this country? This country is asking me to fight for. Did his child school in this country? He asked me to believe in the educational system. He asked me to believe in my country. He's not right. He's not wrong, rather, right? But is his child in this country? The president is sick. There are hospitals in Nigeria. The president is sick. The president wants to go for medical checkup. He has to fly to another country. Why is this thing going on? Why is it this way? Now, the answers you get from that question might not be comfortable. It doesn't necessarily mean your pastor is lying to you. It just means that, man, they are unsaid rules. They are invisible forces. At that level, you're beginning to tap into the invisible forces that makes for this thing. You begin to understand, right? Begin to understand, okay, so this is how this thing works. So in as much as my pastor, right, believes in the country, man, it means that, but his children are schooling abroad. It means in as much as I believe in the country too, right, I have to find a way to probably school abroad or go to a better school. That is what it is basically, right? You need to understand these things, because if you do not understand it, what's gonna happen is that people are going to tell you something different, something entirely different, and you're going to be seeing something entirely different in their actions, right? And I like to tell people, don't follow people's word, don't follow what they say, follow their actions, look at what they do, right? People can never, it's difficult for people to lie about their actions. because actions are things that you can actually see. There is a higher tendency of people lying through the things that they see than them lying about their actions. Actions, as a matter of as a matter of time, it will begin to become more apparent to you. So you need to begin to ask yourself these things. You need to ask yourself, you need to begin to question some of the beliefs you have about the society. You need to begin to question yourself about some of the beliefs that you have. What are your excuses? You're telling yourself things like, okay, there's no money in the country. Look around you. Look around you. There's no money in the country, right? There are no jobs. Look around you. People are building houses. People are buying properties. People are living life on their terms. For someone who is fearlessly curious, right? One of the things that the person will begin to ask is, okay, so how are these people doing it? Of course, they are not stealing. None of them are stealing, right? So how are they doing it? Do I need to change my environment? Do I need to switch my industry? I want to make 10 million naira in a month. Okay, so with the current skill that I have, will I be able to make this money, right? Will I be able to do this? Will I be able to do that? And if the answer is no, my brother, my sister, you have no fucking business being in that place. You have no fucking business, right? So when you open up yourself like this, when you're able to open up yourself and you begin to ask this kind of questions, right? That is when you begin to receive insight, right? That's when you begin to receive insight, because when you ask questions, right, answers begin to come, especially when you're asking the right questions, right? Jesus Christ said, knock and it shall be opened unto you, ask and it shall be given, right? Knock and it shall be opened, seek and you will find. Seek is not suggesting that it is lost. It doesn't mean it is lost. It just means seek, meaning search. Jesus Christ says, search the scriptures. Because when you search, there's something that searching does to you. These things I am sharing with you, they are as a result of me being able to search, right? They are not surface things. You would hardly hear this kind of things. People tell you to be curious, but how was I able to decipher these things? Because I search, I study. Right? That's how I'm able to arrive at this thing. So if you want to be a top 1%, understand that one of the characteristics, one of the attributes, right? One of the virtues that accrue to people who are at this level, right? They are people who are fearlessly curious, and they are not just fearlessly curious, right? They are people who are willing and open to accept hard truths about some of the things that they've held so dearly to themselves, about some of the things that mentors might have taught them, about some of the things that their environment must have taught them, or even about some of the things that their environment probably have taught them, right? So instead of blaming the economy, if you're someone who is fearlessly curious, you start asking yourself, how can I thrive in this economy? That's what you begin to ask yourself. Then comes the energy of innovation. You're in a relationship, you've had several failed relationships. If you're someone who's fearlessly curious, begin to ask yourself, okay, so what am I doing wrong in this relationship and how can I change it? Okay, do I need to change my attitude? Do I need to smell better? Do I need to learn to talk to women more better? Do I need to be more polite? Do I need to be more open-minded? 6 people have broken up with you because of one thing. For someone who is passively for someone who's just a passively curious individual, right? They could say, oh, okay, it's because they don't like me, it's because this person does this person does that. They will blame every other person except themselves. But for someone who is fearlessly curious, you are able to sit with yourself, have that tete-a-tete, or whatever it is called, right? You could sit with yourself and have that conversation and be honest with yourself to be able to say, okay, so I think it is probably I don't smell good, right? Or I don't speak well, or okay, so I need to learn how to speak better English, right? I need to learn how to communicate better. I need to learn how to control my anger. In a relationship, you've slapped 5 girls, they left you because of one thing, your anger issue. Instead of you blaming them, when you're fearlessly curious, you can sit with yourself and have the difficult conversation. This is what's going to change your life. So you're in business, right? You did the first business, it failed. You did the second one, it failed. You did the third one, it failed. People are okay. You don't sit and tell yourself, okay, so this business, why do we have the failures, right? Why did it fail? You don't sit down, you blame every other person, you blame your debtors, you blame every other person except yourself. But right in that business that you're doing, there are people who are doing that same business and they have opened different branches. Question, what do they know that you do not know? When you're fearlessly curious, those are the kind of questions that you begin to ask. The answers to those questions might be difficult. The responses might be difficult. They might break your narrative, right? They might disrupt your paradigm, right? But when you begin to question yourself like this, when you begin to ask these questions about the society, about yourself, about your mind, about your upbringing, even your upbringing. Sometimes your upbringing is your biggest enemy, right? Sometimes your upbringing is your biggest enemy. When you start asking yourself these kind of critical questions, this is where it begins to make all of the difference, right? Now, but we don't just stop there, right? We don't just stop there. In as much as fearful curiosity is fantastic, right? In as much as this is good, this is fantastic. We've talked about the passive, active, we talked about strategic, we talked about fearless curiosity. There is a step higher than it. Now it is called relentless curiosity, right? Relentless curiosity. Now, relentless curiosity says, okay, so I create my own knowledge. Now, this is the place of mastery. Now, remember how we defined curiosity, right? We said it's the ability, right, for you to do what? For you to observe. First, you're observing, right? You're observing the things, the things, right? You're observing these things, and then you are you're questioning it deep enough, right? In order for you to be able to understand the visible and invisible forces that drives this thing, so that you can understand, you can decipher, right? You can decipher what it is and the future of that in the next level. Now, this next level is actually hidden in relentless curiosity. So it is in relentless curiosity, right? You begin to ask yourself, okay, so what is the next level of this thing? So I'm looking at this thing right now. It makes sense, but what is the next level of this? So I wrote this flyer. I'm using this flyer. It's generating leads. It is fantastic. What is the next level of this flyer? What can I do to this flyer in order to make it bring in more leads for me? The flyer is currently generating 1,000 leads every 2 days, right? So to ask yourself, what can I do to this flyer to make it generate 1,000 leads every day instead of 1,000 leads in 2 days? What can I tweak? How can I make it better? Right? That is the energy of innovation. That is the energy of invention. This is where Microsoft, this is where the likes of Google, this is where the likes of OpenAI, right? This is where the likes of DeepSeek are. These are where these guys function, and if you must function at the level that they function, then you must be able to embrace relentless curiosity. Your life should be a circle of relentless curiosity. When you see things, you don't just stop at being actively curious, not as strategic, not at the fearless, but you move to relentless, because at that time, it is in that place that you are able to define the next step of things. You are able to define how this thing should exist next. So, for example, right, before now, right, it started with the iPod, right? Steve Jobs, he started with the iPod, right? But right in the iPod here, they were able to question the iPod so deeply enough that they were able to define the iPhone 4, right? The iPhone 5. They questioned iPhone 5 deeply enough that they were able to bring in iPhone 6. They questioned iPhone 6 deeply enough that they were able to bring in iPhone 7, iPhone 8, iPhone 10. They were able. So every iPhone you see is a result. Every new iPhone you see is a result of their ability to question the previous iPhone deeply, right? The previous version of the iPhone deeply, the previous model of the iPhone deeply, such that we are able to define how this one should exist, how the current one should exist. That is why you will always buy an iPhone, because there's something new about it. No matter how little, there's always an energy of innovation. There's always an energy that defines how this thing should exist next. Before now, it was the fingerprint. You had to print your fingerprint for you to unlock the phone, right? Now it's your face recognition, it's official recognition. What is the next level of it? Who knows? 2 years from now, 3 years from now, there just might be another way for us to unlock our devices. Maybe we might just need to say a word. It might just be voice recognition, whatever it is, right? It is being defined. This is the energy of innovation. And if you must be successful, if you must play at that level, right, then you must be able to understand that your biggest shot at being able to play at that level is to stay at that energy of relentless curiosity. So you're running a campaign, right? You're running a campaign. So how can you optimize that campaign to make it give you, better results, right? So you've moved from being a consumer, you've moved from just consuming information, right? Let's say you're a teacher. You've moved from just being able to teach, right? Or being able to listen. You're a student, you've gone beyond listening. Now you're a teacher, you're teaching, you're sharing things, right? You're sharing with people, you're making their lives get better, right? You've now become a producer. Basically, that's what it is. You now begin to have your own ideologies. So you've questioned the society, right? You've questioned how things are being done. You've questioned the status quo. You begin to come up with your philosophy. This is why we reverend people like Albert Einstein, right? This is why Einstein is revered. The Socrates, the Plato, this is the level at which they function. This is the level at which they function. And look around you. Every person that you hold in high esteem, every person that you salute, every person you bow to, that you look up to, they function at this level. That's if you're following the right person anyway. They function at this level. Their ability, even this video you're seeing right now, there's something that is installed in this video, in what you're watching right now, that is going to define how these things should exist next. There's something inside of it, and it's in our ability to question it, right? That is what is going to help us define how it should exist next, right? So when you are at this level, this is the level where society begins to reward you. They reward you financially, they reward you by putting you on the podium, they reward you in several ways, including making you a poster child, right? Including making you a poster child. So what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? For you to be able to get to the place of relentless curiosity, you need to understand that for every level, there is a price that you have to pay, right? There's a price that you have to pay. You have to pay the price of consistency. You have to pay the price of discipline, right? You need to be able to do things. I mean, to be very honest with you, this video I'm shooting right now, I did not feel like shooting it, right? I mean, the idea of the virtues of advantage came to me. It was one thing for that idea to come to me, and it was another thing for me to fucking sit down and put the outline together. After putting the outline, it was another thing for me to be able to sit in the camera and be able to record this video that you're watching right now. So I'm not telling you what I don't do. I'm telling you what I'm actively doing. The virtues of advantage is not comfortable. It's not something that I like to do. It's not something that I want to do. I could be doing a million other things right now, but I want to be successful. This is what I am implementing. This is what I am doing. We are building in the open. Do you understand what I'm saying? We are building in the open. So the more you understand this, when you begin to understand these fundamentals, you begin to understand this principle, and then it begins to become glaring to you that success many times is not a miracle. Success is not a miracle. Success is not magic. Success is not a dilemma. Success many times is the right application of the relentless curiosity, right? And fearless and relentless curiosity. This is the level you should be. You're not just learning things, you're becoming an executioner. You're not just stop at executing. You come into that place where you can refine the results that you're getting. And you don't just stop at refining the results. You begin to come up with your own. From the results you've gotten, right? You become what I like to call a mad scientist. I like to regard myself as a mad scientist, right? You come into that place of being a mad scientist, and then you can tell yourself, okay, so I've examined these things. I've seen the realities that are peculiar to me. So let's say, for example, you come from that place where you hear people say things like school is scam, school na scam, all those kind of things. They try to paint the educational system as being a scam. Now, do you know that most of the most successful people in the world are actually people who have gone to the university? Do you know that? Do you know that when you go to university, it actually increases your chances of being open to opportunities? Do you know what that does for you? Do you know that that's what it actually does for you, right? But what society is going to do, right, is to push that narrative to you. They tell you can become a success anytime, right? But you don't understand the principles that apply to this thing. Does it apply to you? They were born in first world countries. You're born in third world nation. Does it apply to you? Right? Do you know that when you're born in third world nation, it becomes even more difficult, right, for you to succeed? I like to say that if you are born in Africa, right, life already is leaving you 10-0. Basically, I like to say that. And the reason I say that is not because I hate Africa. No, I love the continent. I love the people. But understand that the realities are different. So how do you fight? How do you understand what deserves your curiosity? Because in as much as you should not give in as much as you should be curious at different level, you need to understand the things that actually deserve your curiosity. Curiosity is an energy. You do not give that energy to things that are irrelevant. You do not give that energy to things that cannot help you to increase your chances of becoming better or increasing your wealth, your health, your love, or your happiness. You don't give your energy to those kind of things. If it's not going to improve your health, if it's not going to improve your wealth, if it's not going to improve your happiness, if it's not going to improve your love, then do not give your attention to those things. And when I say happiness, I'm not talking about you go sitting down, in front of comedy, laughing all day, scrolling through TikTok and all of those and all of those stupid things. If those are the kind of things that makes you happy, you're just a passive. You're disguised as a passively curious individual. You're not curious actually. right? So you need to understand that the things you should give your attention to are the things that determine for your growth, that determine to your development, that increases your chances to be able to sit in the presence of kings, right? The world honors people. See, the world reveres people who function at the level of relentless curiosity, people who are able to breed innovation, because people want to get things done faster, people want to get things done much more easier, and the people who get rewarded are the people who are able to help them do it faster, easier, or however it is that they want to do it. And that is where the energy of innovation is. So curiosity is a very important virtue. It's a very important virtue of advantage. Embrace curiosity at the highest level. When I say at the highest level, of course, I'm sure now you know what I mean. Relentless curiosity is what I'm talking about. Don't just stop at the base level. Don't be passively curious. Don't be actively curious. Don't just stop at the strategic level. Don't just stop at the fearless. Fearless is fantastic, it's good, but move to relentless curiosity. This is where the magic happens. This is where the A players, the Elon Musk that you admire today, this is the realm that he functions. Look around you. Every person that you admire today functions at this level. Relentless curiosity. So we need you to be relentlessly curious, right? We need you to be relentlessly curious. Now, go back, watch this video again. This is not one of the videos that you watch, and then you come back and be like, oh, I've watched it already. Go back, watch it again. Watch it again and again and again and again. Your goal in every of your industry is to be relentless. So it's to be so relentlessly curious, right? I started learning some things not so long ago. I've been a copywriter for many years, right? Officially since 2020 thereabout, right? I've been a copywriter since then, but the kind of ideas that I'm able to put out right now, with my flyer creatives, with my video creatives and all of that, these are things that I would not have been able to pull out 2 years ago, maybe even 6 months ago. What changed? My ability to stay curious. Curiosity, relentless curiosity. My ability to stay at that level, right? My ability to stay at that level. So you need to understand, be relentlessly curious, basically, right? Be at the highest level of this thing. This is one of the virtues of advantage. So we talked about passive curiosity. It is for the masses. It's for those that are shallow. You have no fucking business being there. As long as you're following Joseph Michael, you have no fucking business being passively curious with the things that are important to your life. You have no fucking business being there. We talked about active curiosity. You have no business not being able to dig into things and staying at the shallow level, right? Everybody's at the shallow level. The masses are at the shallow level. And you are not one of the masses. Lemuel, it is not for kings. It is not for you to be at the shallow level. You listen to Joseph Michael. It is not for you to be at the shallow level. So you take it up, right? It's strategic. Yes, good. Go deeper, but don't just stop at being there. Learn to execute. You move to fearless curiosity. Begin to question things, the norms, the things that you've heard, the things that society has taught you, all of these things. Learn to question them. And when you question them deeply enough, it is automatically going to bring you into that place where you now become a distributor. You now begin to have your own ideologies, your philosophies, right? The things that make you stand out. And guess what? The king of the nations are going to come to you, because these are the people that the power centers are actually attracted to. So I hope this video helped you. If you have any questions, like I believe that you should do, right? Put in the comment section. If you know someone that this video that needs to see this series, that needs to be a part of the series, get them, share the channel link with them, right? Let them come and watch this. It is for free right now. I told you I'm going to be pulling this down, right? Let them watch this, right? Let them watch it and let them learn something from it, right? Give them the opportunity to learn from it. So put your questions there, and I'm going to see you in the next lesson. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to be talking about another virtue, right? Which I call, I'm not going to mention the name right here, but you can watch this over and over again, right? And I will see you in the next video. Don't forget, embrace relentless curiosity. That's where your advantage is.